Takes me back.
Today we are opening NBA Hoops cards from 1990 and 1991.
You know, when I was a kid, these were the cheap cards. And there was a small comic book store by me where I used to save up my money and get NBA hoops. So today, I landed 10 packs of NBA hoop cards. So without further ado, again, this was at a comic book store. Now, this wasn't your typical comic book store where, you know, you got the good comics. There's no Captain America, Spider-Man. It was like a smoke shop where they sold cigarettes.
That's a weird combination.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you got Detective Comics with Batman and Robin. You were like, holy cow, there's actually Batman. It was all the other stuff, like the Moon Knights and stuff where you really didn't know who they are. So let's go. Again, these are 90, 192s, okay? So we're going to get started and see what we get here. Just keep the camera rolling, Bob. Keep it on the cards, and hopefully we'll get lucky. So first up, first pack, here we go. And I always like how they show the logo on each card. So first one here, can you see it?
Phoenix Suns?
Phoenix Suns. They got the vintage logo there. They sucked in the 90s. I mean, they were trash. I think they had...
The 2000s they got better, but yeah, in the 2000s they got way better than they were in the 90s.
Yeah, they had Dan Majerle or whatever his name was and Chalmers. They didn't have Charles Barkley left. Okay, we got a Mark Bryant Portland Trailblazers card. Never heard of the guy.
Me neither.
The Blazers were good in that time frame. They played the Bulls. Mark Eaton, Utah Jazz. That dude was a monster of a man. Huge center. Worked good with Karl Malone and John Stockton. Wes Unseld. This guy was the Bullets coach. They were irrelevant in the early 90s. I don't think they had one winning season, but I've heard of that guy. Rick Smits, dangerous center for the Indiana Pacers. They were pretty good with Reggie Miller.
Yeah, Reggie Miller was pretty good in the 90s and early 2000s.
Look at that one. Sean Elliott. He was the 1-2 punch with David Robinson on the Spurs. Good team in the 90s. Didn't win no championships. Okay, Robert Parrish. He was the big-time, I think, center for the Celtics. They had Bird. He was getting old at that time. Nick Anderson, he later, when they got Shaq, I think, was relevant. He was good, but at this time, I think all they had was Scott Skiles and him, so they sucked. Mavericks player, James Donaldson. Mavericks, I think, at that time, were the worst team in the league. They had, I don't know if you can catch that logo, though. They had, like, the sweetest logo.
Yeah, that logo was nice, and the jerseys were really good, too.
Yeah, look at that thing. Cowboy hat. Wish they'd go. Bill Fitch. Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Charles Barkley, baby.
What a good card. Probably going for around $100.
I don't know about that, but it'd be nice. Charles Barkley was the man. Still is the man on TV. And Vlade Divac.
Wasn't he traded to the Bulls?
I don't think so. I think he went to the Sacramento Kings. This was
I think this was involved in the Kobe Bryant trade.
Yeah, well, all I can say was the Bulls played them in the finals. He was a tough player with Magic and I think James Irwin or whatever his name was.
Dr. Irwin was his nickname.
Lenny Wilkins, big-time coach. Brad Daugherty, he was a tough player along with Larry Nance. Cleveland Cavaliers, played the Bulls in the playoffs.
They only make the playoffs like 1 year and then suck the rest of the decade.
I don't know. See, the thing was the Cavs I think they were a team that was always in the playoffs, but they had to play in the East against Michael Jordan, so it wasn't going to happen. And Mike Brown, another irrelevant player, never heard of him. Let's go to another pack right away. We don't want people waiting, hoping for a Jordan or something like that. Here we go. Charles Jones of the Bullets. Nothing to be said. They sucked. And LaSalle Thompson, bench player for the Pacers, and really wasn't that good. Derek Harper, he was a good player for a horrifically bad Mavericks team. There they are, the Portland Trailblazers, the team that really challenged the Bulls in the playoffs. Clyde Drexler, I think they had a guy, James Robinson. That's who Jordan hit all them threes over. Sidney Moncrief for the Atlanta Hawks.
He used to play for the Bucks.
Yes, sir. He was
one of the greatest Bucks of all time.
Yep, a stud he played for the Bucks 79 to 89, 10 years. Big time.
I didn't know
scorer.
he played in Atlanta though. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they traded him there, or either he signed there. Yes, our first Minnesota Timberwolf. They stunk at this time. They were a new team. Hadn't gotten Christian Laettner, Isaiah Rider yet. Terrible team. Speaking of terrible teams,
Denver Nuggets, they sucked back in the 80s and 90s.
Coolest logo ever. Can you see that?
Yeah, that logo is nice.
That thing is pristine.
And they did a city uniform a couple years ago that was just basically a throwback.
Yeah.
It looked nice.
But, God almighty, were they terrible. Here's a good player. The mailman.
Karl Malone.
Karl frickin' Malone, Utah Jazz. Him and Stockton were dominant in Salt Lake City. Robert Parrish, another Robert Parrish card. New Jersey Nets. They were a good team, and I'll be able to say his name if I see it. But they had Drazen Petrovic.
Petrovic, yeah. Wasn't there like a curse in the NBA Jam game?
Well,
something like a glitch or something?
Well, he died. I think he got in a car accident, and he was like their best player. Here's a stud. Kurt Rambis. Wore regular glasses in the game. Played for the Suns. I think he was a Laker as well. Stud. Walter Davis. Stunk. Chicago Bulls. There they are.
Yep.
91 NBA
NBA
champions.
champions.
You had Cartwright, Horace Grant, John Paxton, Scottie Pippen.
Those are some big glasses that one guy's wearing.
Yep. And I don't care what anyone says. Greatest NBA player of all time, Michael Jordan. Get that LeBron
Way better than
talk
Kobe,
out of
way
here.
better than LeBron, way better than Bird.
I mean-
he's the greatest by far.
I'll give it, if you want it, my 1, 2, 3. Jordan, followed by Kobe, followed by LeBron. The game isn't like it used to be. When Jordan drove the lane, they clotheslined him. They kicked him when he was on the ground, and that was a standard foul. No one could play to 42 like LeBron back in the day because the game was physical.
Yep.
Never heard of Michael Adams. Randy Brewer, the guy that looked like he stepped off the bar stool and onto an NBA court. He played for a while, I think, on the Milwaukee Bucks. Horrible. Speaking of horrible, Charles Jones, bench player, LaSalle Thompson, and that's that pack. All right, this is the pack. I kind of cheated, looked ahead of bums. Willie Burton, bum. No, actually, no, not Spud Webb. He wasn't a bum.
He was good. He was only 5'7", still won the dunk contest, I
Yeah,
think.
stud. Del Curry, Dick Moda, Cliff Robinson, as I mentioned earlier.
Wasn't he really mid?
He was the guy that Jordan dropped all them threes on. Travis Mays, bum. Moses Malone, Alex English.
They're
Here's
the
a guy,
worst.
Marunas Marticulonis, for the irrelevant
Warriors.
Warriors. They had Chris Mullen, Tim Hardaway, Mark West, and just bums. Just garbage. That pack, nothing. Bunch of garbage. Oh, Kevin Johnson, little guy, pain in the Bulls' butt in the 93 playoffs when they three-peated on the Phoenix Suns. There, we got Kevin Johnson, another rookie card. Moses Malone again. What is this? They only paid like 3 teams.
Wasn't they
J.R.
only
Reed.
like under $5 though?
Yeah, they were cheap. Here we go. Michael
Oh, this is off the
Frickin'
team. This is on the Dream Team. I think.
Jordan, Dream Team, big NBA card. There we go. I'm rich. You're not. And that right there is where the cookie crumbles. Joe Klein and the Celtics, Terry Davis, Sam Mitchell, Brad Daugherty. Finally,
I'm Milwaukee Buck.
my team, the Milwaukee Bucks, completely irrelevant in the 90s, horrible every year, and this is probably a starter
Oh,
at
they
that
were
time.
okay in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the guy? Allen and Paul Pierce, I think, was on that team at the time.
Yeah, they were all right in the late 90s, but you're talking early 90s, man.
Oh, yeah, that was
Bradley
awful.
Center just opened. Garbage. Garbage.
Just like that arena was pretty bad, too.
Kendall Gill, baby. I think he does commentary for NBA Today. So this was before they got Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning. They're all right. There he is, Bucks coach Scott Skiles for the Orlando Magic. He was their best player at the time, and that kind of shows you where
Orlando Magic were.
the great coach Pat Riley, a thorn in the Bulls' side, really good coach. I think he took the Magic or the Heat to the promised land when they had the trio of LeBron James and what was the other guy's name? Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade and, what was that? Udonis Haslam and, I think they might have had, Chris Bosh.
Here we go. I'm going to start going quick here.
Gary Payton.
Gary the Glove, frickin' Payton, Michael Jordan's arch nemesis. Great defender, great ball handler.
Wait, is that a Phil Jackson?
It is the legend. Probably has like 9 rings. Phil frickin' Jackson, baby. That man was the guru of the Chicago Bulls. Classic. Was able to keep all those personalities right in the playoffs. Speaking of good defenders, Horace Grant, another guy that liked to wear his glasses. Garbage, 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 garbage. Let's go to the next pack, baby. Here we go. Philadelphia, nothing. Sam Perkins, nothing. Kevin McHale, there you go. Guy that was good in the 90s would probably be terrible today because it's more athletic. He was off the bench there for the Celtics, but probably 6th man of the year.
Who turned the TV on? Come on.
Come on, turn it off. Because I don't want to hear it. I'm making a YouTube video. Turn it off. Because I said, Magic Johnson, there he is. This man would
Didn't he
have
ever
gone.
retire because he had some illness?
Yeah, he had HIV, still alive today, thank God. Doing well. That was back in the early 90s where they just really didn't know much about it, is my understanding. So, he retired prematurely. He did have a comeback where he was still playing good.
And he also coached for the Lakers a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that went well. I don't think that went well at all. Getting low on packs here. Let's see. Blair Rasmussen, Walter Davis, the Bulls card again. Another bum, Michael Adams. There's the Barstool man, Randy Brewer. Same Suns card. Oh, there he is.
David Robinson.
The General, baby. David frickin' Robinson. Class act. Him. What was that guy's name? Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan. Yeah, Tim Duncan.
Oh, and there he is. The Stealth, I think. Dominique Wilkins.
And also won a dunk contest.
Oh, great guy. Just played on a horrendous team. Great athlete. Really changed the game, so to speak. Man, there ain't nothing here. Oh, wait a minute. Manute Bol.
Tallest player to ever play in the NBA.
7'7", Nigerian, I think. His son Bol is playing today. This dude was a monster. Looked like a stilt out there in how he towered over everybody. Let's see what's next, baby. Come on, let's go. Another Miami Heat. Oh, you got to point this out to Clippers. I didn't even know they had a team. They were so bad in the early 90s. Oh, there he is. The bench player for the Bucks, Fred Roberts. He was like a military-looking man, but he played for a horrendous team. Let's see, another LaSalle Harper. I think they used to just print these off in order because these are all reprints. My God. There's another Malone. There's another. You know, they say there's like over 500 cards, but I've only seen about 25.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. There
Isaiah
we
Thomas.
go.
Dominant on the bad boy Pistons.
Oh, 1-2 reigns with them. Just absolute enemy of Michael Jordan. You can tell which teams I liked in the 90s. He was one of the bad boys. Just an outstanding talent. Does not get credit. 2 Isaiah Thomases in a row.
Probably one of the greatest defensive players of all time.
Oh, outstanding. Didn't get to play in the 92 Olympics because Jordan hated his guts. Let's call a spade a spade. How would you like the name Maurice Cheeks?
Oh, that one.
Poor guy. Trent Tucker. Only reason I'll mention him, he was on the Knicks. He went to the Bulls and they won a championship later. Johnny Dawkins. Ricky Pierce. I think he was a Buck. Sam Vincent. Otis Thorpe. Garbage. Washington Bullets. Mr. Three-point shooter himself, Craig Hodges, came off the bench for the Bulls. Very dangerous three-point shooter. And I think in the All-Star three-point contest, he's the only one to ever shoot a perfect performance. Just outstanding. Tom Chambers, there's that Suns player that was an All-Star. I think that's all that you got. We got one more pack to go, baby. Come on now. Come on. Jeff Malone. Felt terrible for this guy. He was on the same team as Karl Malone, and you know he didn't get any attention. Poor guy. Probably showed up to more events where they thought they booked Karl Malone, and then he showed up, and kids and adults started crying because they booked the wrong Malone. Ugh. Speaking of Karl Malone, the very next pack, Karl Malone. I don't think they used to have like machines sort these back in the day.
Yeah.
I think they just cut them in a stack, and you got.
You know, like people just organized them.
Oh wait, this is worth mentioning here. Danny Manning. He was on the Clippers. Actually, he was the one good player on the Clippers at that time. One good player. Charles Barkley All-Star card. We're running out of hope here, Bob. John Stockton,
good card.
Great assist man. Him and Karl Malone were money. Good player. I think he was a Mormon. He lives out in the mountains of Utah now. Rarely makes appearances, and just an outstanding talent. There he is. Some say the greatest center of all time. My favorite player, Giannis Antetokounmpo, says this is who he models himself after, I believe. Just an extremely dominant presence in the center. Won a ring, I believe, over the Knicks in like 95. Joe Dumars, outstanding talent for the Detroit Pistons. And let's see here. Let's finish with some bums. Danny Ferry, never heard of him. Mike Sanders, never heard of him. And we got a jamming card with the boys and Will Smith. The man himself slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars or whatever that was. Get your wife's name out your mouth. Or something like that.
Yeah, I believe that's what I said.
Oh, here we go. Let's finish with the bad boy himself, Bill Laimbeer. The guy was a jerk. The guy was physical, and I guarantee everyone was scared to play that man. And then the last card, fitting, we finish with Alvin Robinson. I think he was a Buck. I don't know. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Chain Man, not NTC, thank you for having me on your YouTube channel. Come back next time we open some cards, baby.